Bardock, a soldier in Frieza's Saiyan army, has just saved the universe.
Kakarot! Remember that name!
Only he doesn't know it yet.
What's up, everybody? So I already did videos on the big three, and I was like, what do I do next for my anime content? And I was like, oh, let me do a video about Dragon Ball Z. And I wanted to talk about my favorite character, if not one of my favorite characters, which is Bardock. And so obviously I'm going to talk about the original version because, you know, in the new version based on Super, we don't really, get anything from him. You just have to kind of assume that, his story is the same. But we're going to talk about the original version of Bardock, the one that most people know. There's many reasons why I like him, right? And it's not even the fact that he is Goku's father. First, we got to start off with the look, which is not only dope, but there is a deeper meaning to it, which is where I actually want to start, which, kind of leads into the headband. And so, when you think about the Saiyans, right, they ain't friendly with each other. Even if you're counting, some of the filler on the movies with King Vegeta and his son, it's like he only kind of loves him because he's in charge and that's his boy. We don't really see Saiyans chilling with each other. When Vegeta and Nappa find out that Raditz is dead, they're like, okay, that guy was a loser anyways, right?
That pathetic loser Raditz let himself be fooled by all of their power readings.
Nappa gets paralyzed. He's like, help me, Vegeta. Vegeta's like, ew, you fucking weakling, and then obliterates him. So there is no sense of camaraderie amongst Saiyans until, I was younger and I watched, this special, and you see that Bardock is rolling with a crew, and it's not like they're villains teaming up. They're actually homies. They'll give each other shit and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's cool that he has a group of friends and they run around and they do missions together, and there is this kind of sense of friendship. It kind of reminds me of this is the Saiyan version of the Z Fighters. This is, but they even seem a little closer than that. They know about, the fact that Bardock just had his son Kakarot. And so I was like, oh, this is so cool to see Bardock having a crew that he's running around and doing stuff with, which leads back into the look, right, of when they all get murdered and he picks up, he wipes the blood of his friend, and for whatever anime reason, it soaks and kind of clears out into that rag, and he wraps it around his head, and it is a symbol of I carry all of my friends with me.
Goodbye, Tora. You were my best friend. Orgos, Vasha, those pigs! Shugesh, I promise, somehow I'll get them for this, Shugesh, or I'll die trying. Frieza's taken our loyalty and paid us back in our own blood.
Without him having to say it, it's all right, not only is it cool, but there is a symbolism for every time you see that headband. It is no, this is for, I ride around with my homies, literally, always thinking about them, kind of. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I really like that. Not only is it cool, but there's a deeper meaning to his sick look, right? But when you watch that special, there is nothing special about Bardock and his friends. They are literally just foot soldiers running around doing missions. Most of the missions that they do, you assume they do it in great ape form, so it's not even they're running around really kicking ass. They're just all right, full moon, and then we're just gonna blitz everybody. And even when Bardock is hey, I kind of remember when I'm in great ape form, they're yeah, sure, whatever. Even if he is a standout amongst his friends, they don't even believe him. So again, there's nothing special about anything that this crew is doing, but the fact that they are getting to moments where they are able to do elite missions is Frieza's all right, man, these Saiyans are getting a little too crazy. We gotta get rid of them. And I always think that's so cool. They no intention of an uprising, weren't trying to step on anyone's toes, literally just doing their job, and they got they got noticed and everything went sideways. And even I'm forgetting his name, but when they get blasted, he's what's the deal, we were just doing our job, and then he gets killed. And I love when, you know, Bardock finds all of his friends dead and, you know, the other elites show up and he kicks all their asses. The one where he, like, you know, tricks the guy into, like, shooting his friend. And it's like, okay, yeah, Bardock is him, right? Actually, like, you know, hold on. he can actually hold himself against the higher ranking member. So it's like, maybe we should have been worried about the Saiyans, you know what I'm saying? But I like that, again, that there was no reason for him to stand out. It just happened to be that he did stand out. And so he got the, you know, future sight from that alien. I don't really like that part of the story. But what I do like is that, again, when you think about the Saiyans, right, especially like Vegeta, you would think that they're all super selfish the way that they talk about Raditz. Like, oh, he was a weakling anyways. So I always liked, not only on top of Bardock having a crew, but he goes back to the other Saiyans and he's like, listen, everyone, we got to get out of here. Like, Frieza's coming. Like, everything's, like, he's going to destroy all of us. And they all just kind of laugh at him out of the room.
And while you're down there, kiss my stinky feet! Fools! You're all dead!
He's on his way.
Come on, Bardock.
Fine. Believe what you want to believe, but I'm gonna try and stop him.
And he didn't have to try to save everyone, right? He could have just dipped. But he went out of his way to be like, hey, homies, we gotta go. And they just didn't believe him. So that's why another reason I like Bardock is because he just seems like, you know, a guy's guy, a Saiyan. Like, he's out there for everyone, but not in a corny way. He's just like, you know, these are my people. And yeah, I care about them and their safety in a way. And so, you know, I like that. Like, okay, no one wants to believe me. I'm going to just straight up go to Frieza, right? Find my way to Frieza. He shouldn't have any reason to even get that close. Goes to Frieza, which I guess maybe says something about his power, right? Goes to Frieza. It's like, hey, we quit, which is like, I like the joke from the bridge where he's like, they're like, wait, he doesn't speak for us. Puts all of his energy into his hand and just yeets an energy at him. And there's no way that he would have ever beat Frieza. But there is something about me that I like sometimes when a hero character is just like, there's no reason for me to be here, but I'm going to stand up for everyone anyways. Real Moomin Rider stuff. And, you know, Frieza's just like, whatever, you know, makes his giant ball, blasts him in the Saiyans into oblivion. But there's just something I really like about him just standing there and being like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to stand for this. And, you know, in my opinion, he went out to G, right? Just a regular dude with his regular friends who just happened to be so unceremoniously sick that, like, Frieza's like, I gotta kill all of you because of you. Like, you just happen to stand out. And, you know, he went right in his face and was like, fuck you, eat this. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up dying, but, you know, a G's a G. I don't know what to say. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why, even though we really don't have too much time with Bardock, I really liked that special in the original version of Bardock, and why I didn't really care for when they switched it up in Super, because I was like, you're taking away a story that I think is so interesting, and like he could have just been like some weird side character, but like there's so much story to him in the small amount of time that we got, that I think by erasing it and just having like a small scene in Broly or whatever, it's just like, it doesn't hit the same. I bring back the original Bardock. All right, so that's why Bardock is one of my, if not my favorite Dragon Ball Z character. Let me know if you think I'm crazy, but I think it hits. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, peace.